Hello everyone, welcome back to this Voiceflow tutorial. So in this video, we will basically see how to use the components step to basically package our RAG system such that we can use it in at any point in time within our workflow, right? So now what we want to do is that let's drag the component step out first. Now, so we will create a component. Let's do that. Let's call this rag Q&A, right? So basically what we want to do is that we want to create a component such that it takes in a question, right? And then it checks the knowledge base and spits out an answer. That is all we want this component to do, right? So it's basically like a black box, right? And you have an input, and on the other end we have an output, right? So that whatever is going on in between is basically searching up the knowledge base to see if there's an answer to the question, and then responds with the appropriate answer. Now, for us to let me reload this again. I think it's my browser that is having this problem. Okay, good. Just reloaded on my browser again, and now you can see we are up to date. So what needs to happen here now is, okay, so I need to move all these, so I can just disconnect this from here. So now what I need is to take this, and then I press the shift key to, is it shift or control? Hold on. Okay, it's both shift and control key. You hold it, and then you can control X this out of here, and then enter into the component. So you can click edit component, and then you're inside the component now, right? So we can control V here, right, to paste our blocks. Now, so what we want is that we want this component to take in a question, right? So notice we already have that question here. So that means that this question entity must exist in the parent workflow. If not, this is going to crash, right? So this question must exist in the parent workflow, and it does, because that's where we're passing in our input. Our input is the question, right? So that question gets rephrased, and the rephrased question is passed into the knowledge base, and we then get an answer that we've named rag answer, right? So now this rag answer will then be available in the parent workflow. Same thing with this rephrased question. It will also be available in the parent workflow, and same thing with the original question itself would also be available in the parent workflow. So you can see how powerful, Voiceflow actually is, right? So if I connect this here, that would basically be the end of that, right? We're done, right, with this component. Now let me return back to instance down here. Now we have this component here, which is our rag component. Now we can basically, so now we can basically connect the question here, right? So we have our question. Don't forget this question variable is already within this component here, so we shouldn't experience any issues. Now we can decide to print out the response, right? That's our rag answer. So we can say the answer is rag answer, right? So you see it still gives me the option. Good. So now if I run this, so let's say my question is, let's just keep using the same question for now, man. What is the tuition for undergrad students? So watch what happens now. It'll move into the component and then run to move into the component and run all the blocks within the component, right? So it retrieves the information and then sends the information. So you see the answer is this, right? Although we printed it twice, I think we're printing it in the component itself. So it gives us the two responses. So we can just edit the component now. Let me click on this and edit the components. So yeah, here it is. This is where we're printing it. So we can just delete this one here. We don't need it anymore, right? So yeah, and that's that about that. So that's how you use a component. So now I can take this RAG component anywhere I want, and it will help me answer the question based on the knowledge base that we have, right? So now that we've done this, so what we can do now is that we can reprompt the user to ask a different question, right? So we have been able to create a simple workflow that is able to get our data and answer the user's question in one iteration, right? So what if the user has multiple questions? So the way we can do that is similar to how we did it in the last video, right? We can just grab, in the last tutorial, we can just grab a message step here and just say something like, it's my browser. So we can just say something like this. Would you like to ask another question? Right, so now we can also generate variants for this as well, right? Then the next thing we can do is to add buttons. Then we can come here and add a button for yes and another for no, right? So yeah, that should be that about that. Now we can basically move the user back to this portion of the flow, right? If in case the user has another question, right? So we can just simply move them back to this portion of the flow, right? Let me make this better. Okay, so I can also connect this here. Yeah, so basically this just sends us back to this portion here, and then we're able to ask a new question, right? And then yeah, that should be that about that. Let's try to run this now. So let's say, how much is the tuition for undergrad? Okay, great. So it asks us if we have another question. We can just hit yes, and then we can type in our question, right? So the next question I would like to ask is, when is the application deadline for the fall intake at BFU, right? So we can click send for that. I'm not sure if that information is even in the file, but if it is, no problem. Just need to be sure that it's working. Yeah, so the answer is I don't have that information, blah 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 blah. So if you say no now, it crashes, right? Because there's nothing connected to no path. So we're sure that this is working. Now, typically what you want when you build systems like this, that you want like multiple iterations, right? You want the AI or the chatbot to be able to remember the conversation that we've had in the past, right? So that is the next step that we need to incorporate into this workflow, right? And we will do that in the next video, right? But for now, I think we can just put an end step here to end this workflow. Right? Okay. And I believe that should be the end of that for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it is making sense and adding value. Right? Take care. Have a good rest of your day.